Okay, introduction to model coordination. I'm gonna just run a few slides and then jump right into the demo. So this is the three things we're gonna, the things we're gonna set up, understand what is a coordination space, how to set up a new coordination space. The coordination space is the place inside doc that we designate as the repository of files intended for 3D coordination. We're going to create a new model coordination space from scratch. I'm going to show you how to create and prepare a model for clash review, and then manage and assign issues and creating clash reports. Okay, so a coordination space is the place in docs where you place the files to be utilized in model coordination. It can be set up by the project administrator, and it needs to be configured and designated as a space for model review, 3D review. Sometimes there's the share folder, which is automatically created by the design collaboration module. It can be designated as a coordination space, but it's not necessary. It could be the share folder. It could be a dedicated folder. We designate a folder as a coordination space in the settings of that module. You can have a maximum of 20 coordination spaces. A coordination space, think of this as a dedicated folder. Once you create a coordination space, it cannot be deleted. It can be deactivated and archived, but it cannot be erased. So this is a workflow on how the process of model coordination review happens in BIM Collaborate Pro. So we create a coordination space. We tell docs where we want the folder of coordinating models to live at. Each discipline upload the models to this coordination space, which can be a copy of the published model set up in their own work dedicated discipline folder in docs. Then you can display the models, and then the coordination space is actually a 3D view picked from a published set that will be compared with other 3D views from other models, other published models. And so you pick the view, the three-dimensional view from one model, you pick the three-dimensional view of your discipline, and then place it in the same coordination spot, and display the interferences in the form of clashes. And so there are two ways to display the model coordination clashes. One is a tabular display, which means it's a table where you mapped in the vertical variables. You have the list of the models, and the horizontal you have the list of the models, and then you compare models against models, and it will display for you a list of clashes. And you review those clashes, and then there's going to be a large share of clashes that are not going to be reported as critical. This can be dismissed, And there are some that are going to be identified as issues. Those clashes identified as severe or that require immediate attention from the designer can be marked as an issue. An issue, it's a database of a reported part of the model that requires the attention of different disciplines. There are different types of issues. There are issues related with design, issues related to clash detection, code compliance, commissioning, etc. So the out-of-the-box tool has this whole list of clash types, or issues types, where you can classify the type of comments that you want to track and assign responsibilities. When you create an issue, then you visually identify it as a dot in the model that can be assigned to a responsible party. You can assign a due date. You can assign a person who watches the issue. And then once the issue is created, it becomes part of this comprehensive catalog of issues that can be reviewed by everyone and transparent to the owner and the project administrator. When the issue is visualized by a three-dimensional dot in space, it can also be placed in floor plans. This workflow is intended to digitalize the traditional redlining that happens on the design cycle. So instead of different disciplines bringing their plans and redline your set, you do that all digitally by comparing models and overlaying floor plans with the models and identifying those in the screen instead of a piece of paper. Once an issue has been scheduled, you assign it to somebody. If the person receives an email with a location in the plan with a hyperlink that identifies the location of the issue, and it's his responsibility to solve the clash or address the issue. Once the issue is resolved, the model is republished to demonstrate that there's no longer a physical interference. The issue is marked as resolved. And a project manager or a BIM manager either closes the issue, or if it's not a satisfactory resolution, reopen the issue. So this is at a high level how the model coordination, the 3D coordination effort happens. It's important that as architects and designers, we allocate time in our schedules to provide this type of analytical reviews to our designs in the length of a project. So it's usually right after a major deliverable. There's this time where the project slows down a little bit because it's in need of receive either comments by owner, comments by agency, and usually this time where the team is not as busy in production, that it probably makes sense to include some model coordination activities in conjunction with model integrity, which means purging the file, reviewing the warnings, reducing the number of incidents. Okay, so we're gonna run through all these steps today, starting by how to prepare a view for coordination. Let's see. Okay, there's no files for me to share today. I'm afraid that just like last class, this is just going to be more like a lecture, because model coordination is done once per discipline. So I can't create as many models. We can create as many. I don't think there's a reasonable way to get you involved in a coordination model without creating additional disciplines. And so you can have access to the things I do on the web. So for now, the only data set or the only information you need to load is you can access the our cloud project. You should have a link of this of the cloud project that we did the last week. The hyperlink was nested in the invitation to join the project. There's an email that says, "Welcome to Revit Learning." And that email has a link to this website, to the portal. I'm just logging myself in. Okay, I'm gonna so this is the link. I don't think I can share it from here because this is unique to me. But let me see if this works. I think if I just grab this, the first half of this path until this question mark, then you will be able to just click on that link and open the ACC project. It will ask you for your credentials, and the credential is your email and your Autodesk login and password. Okay, so to get started, last class we uploaded last class under the we uploaded. Oh, I need to give you access to the coordination space, which I don't think I have. So I'm going to do that right away. I think right now I gave access to the model folder, not the coordination folder. So if you're a user who's not going to get involved in model coordination, then you don't need to be part of this. Otherwise, your BIM lead or the BIM manager for the project should provide the appropriate permissions. So as an owner of the project, as the administrator, I can add you to have access to this folder. Right now, it's only me. And I think I can add by company. So let's see if I folio and page Turnbull and HWI. So all of you who belong to that company, we have the ability to create, download, publish markups, and upload. I'll give you edit rights, except admin rights. Again, this has to be done. I'm doing it by company, which makes sense, but you can do it like user by user or by role. I'm gonna add this. If you are already on the portal, you just need to refresh or if in order to see the docs coordination folder. Or you may have to sign out and sign back in. I think it takes a little effort to the portal to refresh the permissions. So if you have the portal open and you don't see the coordination folder, refresh. If that doesn't do it, sign out and then sign back in. And let me know. You can tell me in the chat panel or speak if you don't see it. All right, so I have a Revit MEP model here open, which is the one that ships with Revit. And then the process of setting up a coordination review starts by publishing the appropriate model in a dedicated view. And so this is a 3D view in brackets folder view that hasn't been, is this view that needs to be visually prepared for coordination. And what that means is that you isolate the elements that you need to create a clash against. And so in the case of structure, for example, you switch off all the links from the consultants, you switch off the categories that are not part of the structural discipline, and then adjust the level of detail and add that view into the published set. And so I am, this is a default 3D view in the Revit MEP folder. It has a lot of information that I don't need. And so one of the things I'm going to do is to switch off the categories that are not relevant for the discipline. So in this case, using visibility graphics and using this filtered, I isolate the architectural categories, select them all, and disable it. Then I hit none. Again, I'm not going to ask you to do this with me because I only need one of these models in the cloud. There are some categories in this filter that we may need to turn back on, in particular the one that says electrical equipment and fixtures, the fire protection, the lighting fixtures, the mechanical equipment, and and that's it. Maybe the specialty equipment. No, the specialty equipment. Sometimes if your MEP does use the special equipment, you may want to leave that on, all the plumbing fixtures. Everything else should be switched off. I can also disable the anything that is annotation. So, because these are two-dimensional elements, they don't help you do any 3D view, any 3D coordination. So you can select all and disable it. An easy way to do that is to disable the show annotation categories. And I'm going to switch all those off. You disable the analytical model categories. And then the importing family, these I don't like to switch off because sometimes the MEP content are families that are created with CAD imports. If you switch this off, those CAD elements will not be visible. It's not always the case. It's not a good practice, but it happens. All right, so I hit apply here, hit OK. And now I am left only with the information that I want to clash. Now these guys here, those are analytical members. I don't know why they were did not switch off. So I'm going to select all these guys are the analytical views. And so on the analytical model, I disable the visibility of the analytical spaces, analytical lines. And that's it. I just do a quick visual review to make sure that nothing stands as weird or as odd. And then a good practice is to rename the view and put it in the appropriate category. So this is a 3D view. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call this 3D coordination. So this is the I need to capture this. I'm sorry. This is something that I'm working on the side. And I have to report this, that this thing keeps popping up. Okay, so this is the 3D coordination view. It has the geometry that I want to coordinate in space. Make sure also that the appropriate view control is associated with it. When it comes to MEP, I always want to turn the fine coarse view, because if I keep this as coarse, some of the MEP families, in particular, some tubes and mechanical pipes, are built to display different degrees of information at different resolution. If I change the resolution to coarse, and notice that everything is displayed as a single line, which is good to do this type of analytical views. But if I leave it like that, then the only thing going to appear in 3D is just one line. So I usually switch the resolution to fine to get the full display of the geometry and the piping. Now, if you're an architect and you're preparing this 3D view, you can selectively choose the detail level for the certain categories. If you leave all the architectural categories as fine, and you see that a lot of the system families, including the floors and the walls, start displaying all the different layering information. And that layer information on the wall assembles is excessive for the clash analysis, because each of those layers is going to display a different clash. And so in the case of architecture, you have to go through the list of categories and then selectively choose your system family to display in coarse. So walls, floors, roofs, ceilings, all of those in an architectural model should be displayed as coarse. And then everything else that needs to be in full detail, you just keep it in fine. And so this column in the visibility graphics override will help you display the right amount of information for different type of categories. All right, so now that I have the right view with the right resolution of information, I need to create, let me save it. I go to the Manage tab, no, the View tab, and then where's Publish Settings? Collaborate, sorry, Collaborate tab, Publish Settings, and I create a new set. And this set, I can call it 3D Coordination. And here you include just the views that are relevant and useful to create a clash analysis. Try to keep the 3D view to just one 3D view. So in this case, I'm just going to filter all the 3D views in the model. And then I'm going to pick the 3D coordination. 3D views in the model. I don't see that view. Save it. The other thing I'm going to do also is to move this view to a different location in the let's try again. Publish settings. Coordination is not there. I'm going to save the file. I'm going to close it and open. I think something funny about this model. I'll do it again. Oh, it didn't rename it. You see, kept it as 3D in brackets. This is an issue with an add-in that I'm testing with data exchanges. So I'm going to select the 3D in brackets as the coordination view. So collaborate tab, publish settings, create a new set 3D coordination, and select the 3D in brackets view. And I also going to include some sheets because sometimes also, and I don't think I have sheets here. Yeah, there's some sheets here. I want to select all the sheets because the sheets are also going to undergo a quality control review at the same time as you do the 3D coordination. And so this is intended to go in front of the eyes of the project architect or the technical architects, and they can use the cloud space to add the issues, clouds, and markups, red lines. All right, so this 3D coordination set has these 7-8 different views, including the 3D view in brackets, which is what you see on the screen. I'm going to save and close. And then I'm going to save the file. And this file can be now moved into the coordination space manually, or I can publish the set in the from BIM Collaborate Pro. Any question here? How to prepare a 3D view for coordination? All right. So I'm going to close this file. This file is living on my desktop. And then I'm going to go to my docs. And so the BIM model coordination is a module that ships with the design collaboration module. So if you purchase a seat of Design Collaborative, BIM Collaborative Pro, it comes with docs, with design collaboration and model coordination. When you invite somebody to join your team, then you enable their ability to access these modules. Oftentimes, I invite everyone to be able to display or review the model coordination issues, because quality control is everybody's responsibility. And so it doesn't hurt to put in the eyes of everyone the coordination review results. But that happens, when you invite a person in the members. Let's say I'm going to pick Arlene here. This is how you enable or disable the modules they have access to. So, and I usually, all my users, I usually enable them with the design collaboration, model collaboration. All right, so if you are in the portal, just let me know, do you see the coordination folder? Any answer? Just let me know if when you open the portal, the project files and the coordination folder is there.
I do, but it doesn't look the same as yours.
I'm getting a message that I no longer have access to this account.
Oh, really?
Is there a better link?
Let's see.
This is Isabella.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see myself.
Yeah. I don't think I deleted you, but let me add you back.
Thank you. I thought I'd figure it out without your help, and then I'm like, no, it's not gonna work.
Yeah. 1 second, I need to retrieve.
Sorry, everyone.
Not a problem. It's all right. So you are with
Agent Turnbull.
Architect. You're a project member, and here I enable you with the model coordination and design collaboration module. Could assign it to these others, but we're not going to talk at all. But these are the take-up module to do volumes and areas, and build is for construction admin. I'm going to add you. You receive an email, I believe. Open your inbox and click that link, and it will open this portal for you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have issues? Okay, so this model, this Revit, this MEP person, let's assume that they decided not to work on design collaboration because it's a small company and they don't have means to pay for the licenses, but they are open to share the model for coordination with the rest of the team, which happens sometimes. Sometimes firms don't have the ability to afford BIM Collaborate Pro license for all their projects. And so, but before they send this model via other traditional means, they prepare the model with the right 3D view so that it can be used for clash control. And so in the portal, there's a coordination folder that has the same folder structure as the different disciplines. And so what needs to happen is that I need to designate this folder as the coordination space. So I'm going to switch to the model coordination module. The settings of the model coordination model include the ability to create a designated space for coordination. Right now, there's one that's already set up. I think this is called architecture. I'm going to deactivate it because that's not the right place to have the coordination. There's the option of using the share folder as the coordination space. If you're using the 3-step handover process, you know, where you publish, share a package and consume package. If you use that method, I recommend that you just activate the shared folder and be done with it rather than creating a separated folder. In this case, I'm going to designate a different folder to be my coordination space. I'm going to create, the name of this is going to be 3D coordination. Again, you don't have to do this on your end. Only project admins can do that, and it's a one-time setup. And then I choose the folder from the folder structure that will be used for creating the clashes. Now, here are different variations. In some projects, you have a coordination space for each discipline. Just for making it easy on us here, I'm just gonna pick one of the folders, the coordination folder, and any model that is part of this project will be detected by the tool, and it will be brought into a coordination space. I want to create this coordination space. This is a one-time setup. I don't have to do this again, but I need to instruct everyone that the copy of the model they want to use for 3D coordination must be placed in this folder. Notice that I created this folder. This is the full folders that were created before, were deactivated. Once you create a coordination space, you can deactivate it, but you cannot remove it. That's a limitation of these settings. All right. Right now, there's probably no models because I haven't uploaded anything, right? And then Revit, BIM Collaborate Pro is saying that you have to put models in the coordination folder in order to do this an automatic clash analysis. All right, so in the context of a project production, somebody needs to take the role of 3D coordinator. And that's a role that involves several tasks, including making sure that everyone exchange the files on time, and make sure that everyone puts the model in the appropriate coordination folder, and then study the issues, assign responsibilities, and keep control of the resolution progress. This could be a role that could be assumed by any of the project architects or a designer, but somebody needs to do this job, and it has to be scheduled as part of the project program. Okay, so I'll go back to docs, and I know Revit is asking me where are the models to this analysis. And so for the structural, there was last class, I think I showed you how to create a structural package. And there is already a model here. And this model, I'm just gonna quickly review it. Is made of the structural elements, including the slabs, columns, and beams. There's a single 3D view called 3D in brackets, and it has 3 structural sheets. So I think this model is perfect to use for coordination. So all I do, and again, this is super simple. If I am part of the structural team, again, is the discipline responsibility to make sure that the model that they provide for coordination is in the right space. So you select the model that you want to share for 3D coordination. and then you create a copy. Simple. Right click this three little buttons icon, create a copy, and move that file into the structural folder of the 3D coordination space. So the 3D view in brackets and the three sheets that were published as part of this model are going to be reutilized in the model coordination space. Okay, now I'm going to go into the MEP model. I remember the MEP model decided not to use BIM Collaborator Pro, so they are not part of the live editing, but they agreed to share their files for 3D coordination. And so all I need to do is to drag and drop the MEP model from my machine into the portal. So I'm going to open the desktop. And RME Advanced Sample Project. This is the the MEP project that's ready for sharing. It's created today at 6:07. And I just drag it and drop it. So now I have two models on my 3D space. And I have two 3D views that I can compare. The 3D view from the structural model and the 3D view from the MEP model. Now, MEP disciplines, sometimes they have, or the team can decide to do disciplines to split the different systems. In that case, the MEP engineer will have to create a dedicated 3D view for, let's say, plumbing, a 3D view for electrical system, a 3D view for ducts. And sometimes it can be even more granular, like the plumbing can be separated by plumbing types. You can create like a process view, or be more specific about the black water or potable water, and treat all those different systems as different views. So I don't see this done very often by architects, more on the engineering side. All right, so I'm going to let this process in a bit, and and then let me show you how to, well, this finish, how to get started with a plugin called Issues. So in Revit, I have a tab that is called Issues, which is a plugin for Revit 2023 that allow me to use the Revit environment to generate and display three-dimensional issues placed on the cloud. And so the issues is something that you can get started using the Autodesk desktop. So the desktop connector lives in your computer. Let me run it. Autodesk. They did a change recently, and I don't see it here. Oh, here it is. It's called now Autodesk Access. This is a new thing. It's Autodesk Access. It's called now. It used to be Autodesk desktop app. And this tells you the things that you can install that are provided as part of your subscription, that you have an entitlement, but that you haven't accessed yet. And so, for example, I have all these different hot fixes for Revit 2022 that I can update. And then in this list of add-ins, you're gonna find the issues for Revit. And so issue for Revit doesn't ship with Revit out of the box. You have to go into this product and services and download it individually. It's an easy install. You can also access it from your Autodesk account. If you're having a hard time finding the Autodesk Access, which previously was called Autodesk Desktop App, you can find issues on their, I think on their product updates. Where is it? Oh, this is how you install Twinmotion for Revit. This is the Revit ones. Oh, here it is. Revit X. These are the ones that I could get started with. And there are some extensions. These are additional items that you can install for Revit. And so if you go to manage.autodesk.com and you have been given the a Revit license, then you go into product updates. I selected Revit, and then Revit 2023 will have updates, extensions, and libraries. Under the extension, here is issues, add-in for Revit. You can download it and install. I can download it for you if you want, and I can put it on Google Drive if that's make it easier. Let's do that. It's not a, it's a very small executable. You just add like a few things, and I'm gonna copy it and put it in Google Drive under. We'll create a new folder called issues. Paste it here. All right, so give it a couple of minutes and let it synchronize, and it will be there under the issues folder. Again, if you don't have installation access in your computer, you might not be able to install it, but you have to ask your IT to install it for you. Any question about accessing the file, the plugin? All right, so these Revit MEP projects already finished uploading. This is version 1. And then I have the structural model also loaded as version 2. Then to get the clash started, you have to switch to the switch to the model coordination module. And these are the 3D views that were contained in the project. The 3D view from the MEP model and the 3D view from the structural model. And I could have the architectural as well if I needed to. But at a high level, disciplines are responsible to do internal design clash analysis, just for internal quality control purposes. This will allow them to, create due diligence activities before sharing the model. And so these clashes can actually, instead of being run by the project 3D coordinator, could be the contractor or the architect. You can run your own internal ones with copies of the model, but that will be only possible if you have like discipline specific model coordination spaces. And so in big projects, you designate each discipline to have a 3D coordinator, and then each 3D coordinator run its own clash analysis, which is not visible to the rest of the team, but it's just visible to you and your team. And then once you do your own due diligence clash analysis, then you share this file for a larger review. In this example, I went simple. It's a single folder where all the files live. I have two 3D views. You can select these two views and open them in a viewer. The viewer is going to aggregate the models. I have the MEP and the structural on top, one on top of another one.
Okay, good night, Sam.
Good night, Mark.
Was that a question? No?
No.
Okay.
Just go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let me see if I can share the link for the issues. Share with Google Drive. Anyone with the link has editor, copy link. So in the chat panel, there's the link to the plugin. If you're interested in installing it now, and if you have install rights in your machine. It's not required for the class. I'm just sharing it in case you want to follow along. Okay, so this model has the two disciplines, the two models overlay. If this is a view that I like, that I want to share with other people, you can save it. And this view could be called MEP and structural. MEP versus structural, and I can make it public. When I make it public, it's going to be visible to every member in the project. I'm going to save this view. And now the view that I just created is now accessible to all of you under the model coordination view tab. So here's the view I just created. And you'll be able to access and see on your own as well. Now this 3D view, it's you can explore the content of the view using the model browser tool. And these are ways to restrict how the geometry compare one to another. For example, I can just filter elements by level 1 and at the entry level. So these are levels that are in the MEP model, levels that are in the structural model. And these are all the elements that are hosted by level 1 in both projects. And so this is a quick way to check visually elements belonging or scheduling to a specific level. You can also just isolate elements of a certain category. For example, I have the MEP. I want to compare the MEP and the ducts versus the slabs. So I can just say isolate in this combination of elements, isolate the pipes, the mechanical equipment, the pipes, and the air terminals, and the ducts, and the structural framing. Okay, so these are the structural framing. This is an isolated view. I can update the view if I want to. In what case the view is gonna freeze certain elements. So the advantage of doing it here in the cloud rather than in Revit is that first, it's easier to navigate in the visualizator. Second, it's transparent, meaning that you are given a large, all the members of the team visibility to this view. And then third, it's a process where you can actually retrieve the exchange history. So you can always go back to historical displays of the model and see what happened before, what was clashing before versus what was clashing now. So because Revit keeps the version control of each of the files, then as disciplines replace their file in the coordination spaces, the clash matrix get updated. But you can always retrieve the history of changes in the past. Okay, this is a way to filter the view and update the view. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just clear it, reset it. Now I have everything turned on. And then here are the clashes. So the view, the 3D view is the place where you can display the clashes. And so Revit is going to display in red one discipline. No, in red, the element clashing in one discipline, and in green, the counterpart discipline clashing elements. And then elements that are transparent, you see there are elements here that are transparent, they don't have any issue. So they are okay. So there are 556 clashes between these two models. And then these 556 clashes are explained, that are itemized in this list of elements. You can have access to this view if you're logged into Docs. Just go ahead and open the view. This view is available under the model coordination tab. Go to the view tab, and then open this MEP versus structure, which loads the two models. I go into the clash, the 4 icon from the lower left. And these are the 566 clashes. Now, if this is too overwhelming, too many clashes to review, you can also filter them by view. And so you go back to the views and start filtering some of the objects in the model browser. For example, and I did this already, you just want to display certain categories. Let's say the structural framing and the ducts. That's all you want to focus. And so you can update this view, which is going to update the 3D view that I'm sharing with the rest of you. And that's going to reduce the amount of clashes. So here, when I do clashes in this restricted view, instead of having the 556 clashes, I only have 214. And these are issues between beams and dots. And so I'm starting to get more granular by filtering model elements by type. So if I want to look at what specifically, where all those clashes are, you open the clash window in the lower side. Let me close this. And then Revit starts giving you what is it clashing. There you go. You just click on the clash and Revit tells you, okay, there's a clash between a rectangular dot and a concrete rectangular beam. And that's what's happening there. And BIM Collaborate Pro automatically snaps to the intersecting objects. I'll do it. Let's run one more below here. Let's look at this one. All right, this is a rectangular beam versus the dot. So something needs to happen here. And if this is a issue that you want to track it with a consultant, then from this view, you can create an issue. An issue is a documented acknowledgement that there is a physical problem in the problem, there's a problem in the design. And the issues is part of the model coordination in BIM 360. The plugin that I shared with you in Google Drive, it's only allow you to retrieve those issues directly in your Revit environment for resolution. So let's say this issue is a critical one that needs to be resolved. So as the project reviewer, you create an issue. I'm going to put it right here. This is a 3D dot. The 3D dot will create a form on the right side where you can document it. This is the first issue in the project. Revit automatically give it the name of the beam item, the element ID. And sometimes that's nice. It's just it's a physical interference between these beam and two other objects. It's open. This is automatically it's a coordination clash. But notice that there are all these different type of issues. There are issues related with design, with building code, with client feedback, requirements change, quality, safety, punch list, etc. So you can create all the different types. This list can be customized, by the way. So if there are specific list of a specific category that you want to include in the analysis, you can edit it. It's in the model settings. This is the auto description. It's auto filled, and then I'm going to assign it. I don't know. I'm going to assign it to Anna. So Anna is going to receive an email as soon as I click OK here. And I can add a watcher. A watcher is a person who's just overseeing that that the project is getting done. And so I am, for example, going to designate Isabella as a watcher. A watcher has no role in fixing the issue, but it's just making sure that it's getting addressed. Location, this is usually the intersection of the grids or a space. You can manually type it. I'm not going to put a location here. You can add a due date. You can say, I need this resolved by Friday. And a start date, it's starting today. It tells you where it is, and then it creates a screenshot. And then here's a comment. Resolve interference. And obviously the responsibility, it's the discipline. In this case, most likely it's going to be the MEP engineer because the beam is not going to move, right? And so you would add the appropriate discipline as a responsible party to this issue. Then I submit it. And then this issue flies in the form of an email to both the responsible party and the watchers. And you can add as many watchers as you want. So Isabella, or Anna, let me know if you guys receive an email. It should be on your email.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I got it.
Yep, I got it.
I got it. Thank you.
Mhm, me too.
Awesome. And so it does have a screenshot, right? The email body has a screenshot if you scroll down. And I think it also provides a hyperlink that when you click that hyperlink, it will open this view.
Yep, got it.
Yeah. So this is how you create issues. And our issues are going to, not all the clashes are issues. Like there are sometimes, small interferences between furniture is not considered an issue, so you switch that off. Or if it's assumed that the vertical penetration through slab is going to be taken care by the contractor, and you don't address that now, then you can ignore those as well, etc. The beam coordinator or the 3D coordinator will start assembling issues and use those issues as topics for discussion during the 3D coordination meetings. The list of issues are going to start aggregated under the issues dialog box. This is a list of all the issues in the project. I'm going to create a couple more. So let's see, I'm going to pick randomly these guys and create quickly another issue. Create issue, place it here. That opens the create issue form. This time I'm going to say this is a different responsibility. I'm going to assign it to Arlene, and then as a watcher, I will add Ko and Darren and Hiroki. So all these people are going to get the email. Then I can add additional comments. Move dot submit. Then all the assignee and the watchers will receive an email with a screenshot to where this lives. And so I go back to the issues. This is the list of issues, and then issues start building up. So who create issues? Usually it could be your discipline. I mean, it's your interest to make sure that your work is correctly solved in 3D. It could be a designated 3D coordinator whose role is going to this model once a week and identify the most pressing coordination issues and document them and assign it to someone. It could be an owner representative who want to make sure that the disciplines are properly providing him with the best solution, the best coordinated solution. And this type of workflow reduces risk, increases the quality of the execution of the project in the field, and you discover issues digitally before they hit the construction. Okay, so all these issues are getting accumulated in this database of issues. And they are visually accessible to you using this green checkbox, which is the views. And you can actually look at it on your end. Okay, so this is the way you create the issues. Issues can also be, you can also display a clash matrix. The clash matrix is automatically created by BIM Collaborator Pro when comparing two different models. So I'm going to switch to the clash module. And right now there's a bulk of, this is just a bulk of information getting clash against each other. The entire 3D model from the MEP against the structural model. So these 3D views are clash against each other. And so the clash between the structural and ME produces 440 clashes, and the clash between a structural and ME 192. So these are like the clash groups. In a clash group, it's clashes that are grouped by object. For example, if you have a single beam that is touched by 5 different beams, by five different ducts, so that is considered a group. So on the ME side, there are 440 groups, and on the structural side, there's 192 groups. You can be more granular here. You can pick a specific view. Like I could have saved a 3D view that was ducts versus slab. You can also filter the models. Like you don't have to have a single clash for all of them. And then you can also sort you can sort this by number of issues. I see somebody created an issue. That's awesome. And then you can also look at the ones that are closed. So this is a simple way to have a visibility of all the clashes, physical clashes in the project. All right, and now let's go back to Revit and see how I can start managing the issues. And so once I go back to the views, open these views, which display the list of issues. There are 3 issues here, one that hasn't been assigned. Feel free to create one if you want. And then all these issues, they are aggregated by multiple users, by multiple disciplines in the same coordination space. So it's easier to track its resolution over time. So if, let's say during one coordination meeting, we'd say, okay, we need to focus on clearing this clash. Please, MEP engineer, go back to your office and address this issue. So the MEP designer go back to their office. I'm going to open the MEP model. At a local level, and I'm going to open the issues, the manage issues dialog box, shift with Revit. Oh, you know what? I don't think I can do that because it's, yeah, the model has to be a cloud model in order to read the issues on the MEP side. So that is a limitation. But I can write a report and send it to the MEP person so that he resolves it manually. So MEP cannot load the issues from the local server because it's not a cloud model, but structural can. So on Autodesk Docs, I'm going to open the structural model. So for the MEP engineer who's not part of the cloud production, you can create a report, a manual report. I'll show you in a second how to do that. And then you can send them where his clashes are. So I'm going to open the model as an MEP, no, as a structural engineer. Which is a cloud model. And because it's hosted in the Revit Learning Portal, then information about that BIM Collaborate Pro docs will travel to my desktop environment. So here I go back to the Issues tab, manage it, open it. And then here's the overview. Reload it. Strange. It says that there's no issues to show. I should be able to load associate models. Maybe I need to reload. Oh, because it's loading it. Yeah, it's loading it from files, model structure. That's not where the model is living. The model lives in the coordination folder. So I need to go back and change that to the files coordination structure. So we need to pick the right model where the issues live. There you go. So in the coordination folder, structural folder, that's the file that we're utilizing to run issues. There are 3 open models, and then these are the list of all the different clashes, and you can also display the clash table. So I'm going to switch to manage issue. This is the overview. Yeah, load more issues. This is where I'm supposed to see the this is not the right one. Not sure why I'm not able to load this. Open all project issues. Yeah, so this takes me to the issue dialog box directly from Revit environment. And here's the placement. This is placed in RST and the RST model of the coordination space. Now in Revit, I should be able to see this as push pins. There's this something called associate models, which allow me to see the issues nested in other models. And I'm not sure why it's not. something called view settings. The old issue using the Revit issue. Let's try this. Yeah. Well, I owe you that, guys. I don't know why the issues is not displaying the visible issues as push pin, but I should see a 3D view. Oh, because I need to be in the right view here. No, I'm in the right view. Let me try something else before I move of topics. I'm going to select this guy. I'm going to add an issue here. There's a duct touching the structural element. It's grouped. I'm going to assign this to me. And I'm going to give it a due date. Yeah, submit this to me. This is the email I received. And then in Revit, I don't understand why I'm not seeing the push pins, but I should be, for some reason it's not visible. I'm supposed to see the push pin here, and then that will let me redo or refresh and change the model as needed. So visually it can help me clear those clashes directly from my from Revit. All right, so if this doesn't work, the other thing you can do is to create an issues report. So in the model coordinate model, there's something called reports, and a report is it's a display of all the issues in the project. And this is something that you can send and download as a PDF and send to all the consultants during the coordination meeting. I'm going to create a report. These are templates. These are summaries. You can create your own templates. This is a list of all the details, all the issues in the project created for the past 7 days. You can filter and create different metadata information. And then you run the report. So this is create a PDF, a report in PDF is going to filter. These are ways to filter the issues. If you want all of them, you can just say for the past year or something like that. the issues are sorted by ID. You can create a table of contents, a sheet overview, which custom fields, custom data, run the report. Save template can run, not just run this one time, that's fine. And so those 500 issues are gonna now be created here in the report log. And I see that Arlene already created one. That's awesome. Oh no, these are the two. These are the list of all the reports. The list of all the reports, and they are when it's completed, you get a notification that it's ready to be downloaded. And here you can download the report, or you can copy a link. You can send this via email, or you can just share it. So if I share this report, I can share it with specific project members. Say I'm going to send it to all of you, Folio, HWI, and Page Turnbull. And I tell them the last 7-day report. Issue report. I can also send it to external collaborator. I can send it to myself if I need to. Let's see. And I should just click send email and it will send it to me, but I don't know why. I mean, I can download it. I can copy the report link and I'm going to paste it on the meeting chat. There's the link. You click on that one and you'll have access to this PDF. And this is how the report looked like. Who created it? Company logo. And then the 4 issues, and it has an image. So all the metadata contained by the issue report is now part of this PDF. And if this could be the agenda that you send during coordination meetings, and a way to prepare for, I have a focused discussion on how to clear with your discipline specific issue. Okay, so if after the discipline clear the issue, the process is repeated, right? So structural will clear a clash, then they will publish the model in his own discipline folder in docs. In this example, if a structural received this report and they're asked to do some changes, he processes the changes in the model, publish the model is going to go into the structural folder. Then the BIM coordinator will pick a copy of that model, place it under the coordination space. It's going to create version 2 in the coordination space. The matrix is going to get repopulated. The issues are going to be refreshed. You can close issues if visually they seem to be resolved, and then move forward with the coordination process. So that's how this works. Any question, any reaction? It's pretty straightforward. The traditional way of doing this has been using Navisworks. Navisworks is a standalone tool by Autodesk that does this analysis, but it's more manual way because you have to create the search sets, create and narrow your all the clashes manually. You have to run them, but this is all done on the cloud. It's automatically as soon as you update a file, and that's the beauty of this, that files, the files that you share with the consultants can be automatically be added to the coordination space. The clashes are updated, and then you keep on top of the quality of the model as the project progresses. So we talk about how to enable how to create a 3D view from your discipline, isolated, create a published set. This information moves into the cloud. In the cloud is moved into the coordination folder. You go to the views, you go to the models and aggregate the models that you want to create a dedicated view. Create a view. Inside the view, display the clashes. Create issues as needed, depending on the different clashes. And then create a report, export the report as PDF, send it as an anticipation of a coordination meeting. Each party has its own responsibility of issues. They are visible via email. They are visible in the cloud. And then republish the model, replace the coordination, and that's how the clashes get resolved over time. Any question, guys? All right, so it's 7:10. I think I'm gonna have to stop here and do the families for next class. Sorry, it took me time to go into model coordination. But the bottom line, if you are already using the design collaboration module, you already have a model coordination entitlement that comes with it. Take advantage of it. It's I think everyone wants to have a functioning, well-coordinated 3D model, and we all want to make sure that things are solved digitally before they create issues in the field. Okay, next class, we're going to focus on content creation, family creation. I'm going to start with the railings and tackle the profiles, creating a profile, a custom profile from scratch. And then progressively, we're going to do more elaborate families. All right, guys. If there's no questions, then I'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Cesar. Adios.
Adios.
Quick question before I get up.
Yeah, let me stop sharing and
Yeah,
Stop.
we have this. Yeah, you
mhm.
have this same in 2022 also, right?
Yes, so issues, it's available in 21, 22, and 23.
Yeah, so I don't know that you need to download issues, add in, plug in.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'll try to do that. But when I did that, on the models are not coming in the same spot in the coordination environment. Like the mechanical model, in the Revit, it is aligned. Everything looks in the same place. But when I export that to or make that coordination area, right? Clash the environment, the mechanical model is somewhere else.
So it's really important that all the models have shared coordinates.
Share, oh, I see.
Yeah, so if they are physical in the same space, in
Mhm.
Revit, they may look fine, but if they don't have shared coordinates, each of them is gonna display the shared coordinate in which they are, you know. And so
Okay, so without shared coordinates, so you bring in by horizon to horizon doesn't work.
Correct.
I see.
Well, you have in that when you create a 3D view,
Mhm.
say I'm open this, I have this viewer here, and these display two models, right? So if these two models are in different places,
So where is that? Are you showing something or yeah?
oh, my bad. So this is the
Yeah.
this is a view, and these models are disjoint.
Yeah.
Your choices are ask your counterpart, or maybe is your review your own model.
Mhm.
That both models are using the same shared coordinate system. They have enabled shared coordinates. But if that's too difficult to do, you can just fix it right here on the spot. You select, you see there says transform.
Yeah. Transform. Okay.
Yeah, transform allow you to select a model
Oh, okay.
and then
Move it.
manually adjust its insertion point.
I see.
So you
Okay.
can do move this model from point to point. I mean,
Mhm.
move it from here
To there.
to a different point. That's incorrect, right? And then apply it, and it's gonna move it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You can,
I'll try that. Yeah. Okay.
but if you do that, just keep the models as is. Don't try to search for shared coordinates.
Yes.
In my opinion, is the best practice is to have both files in Revit share the same coordinate, and so that you don't have to do this manually, because you know
Yeah.
a decimal can make.
Yeah. Make that is true. And I don't know, some reason this project, we decided not to do shared coordinates. I don't know why, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how we ended up. It's a years old project. I don't want to do,
Yeah,
play now and move things now. Yeah.
yeah. Just make sure that you have very clear what point to point you're gonna snap to.
Yeah. Yeah.
This 3D
Okay.
view, and that should be enough.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Thank you. I'll see you next week.